is Barbara Stevens, and in case you don't know me, I'm a specialist breakup recovery mentor, and I'd like to thank you for attending and listening to my first webinar in this series called 12 Inspirational Steps. Now, I'm quite new at this, so I'm hoping that the slideshow is up on your screen and you can see it, which is a good thing for me, and I'm going to put it into a view so it takes up the whole screen. So let's hope that I can get this. So let me know if you can't see this. And everyone, I think, can see it. So that is great. So I am now going to put it back to the slideshow and I'm going to start. So in case you're wondering what a breakup recovery mentor does, I work with women who have gone through their breakups by helping them regain their confidence through my 12 Inspirational Step Program so they can embrace life again. In this first webinar, in a series of 4 that I'll be bringing to you, first of all, I'd like to give you an overview on what we will be covering today and what to expect from the 3 other webinars. I also want to tell you of my expectations of this webinar and the other webinars in this series that you will have an opportunity to listen to at a later date. I want to make sure that I'm giving you valuable content that is honest and straightforward, and I am not one of these mentors that talk in the abstract, a little bit airy-fairy. I won't be saying things like, after you say your mantras and do some visualization, that all will be okay in the universe. Of course, I do believe in the use of mantras and visualizations, but I use them in conjunction with practical strategies and techniques. I want to give you key skills and strategies and tools that you can take away and implement them in your lives now and to start to make a difference in the way you think and act now. I want you to know that I have been there and done that. I want to share my experiences that I have had with my own divorce and some of my clients' issues that may resonate with your own. Of course, I won't be mentioning any names of my clients, just their circumstances and common issues that we all have when going through a breakup. And I want to give you access to free resources through my website and my blogs. So for this webinar, you'll need a pen and some paper, as we are going to complete some small exercises in each of the webinars. In these exercises, you need to write things down that are true for you. So my webinars are about some talking from me and some doing from you, which I think works best if you really want to make positive changes in your life. Just hearing me speak is not enough. You actually have to do some of the work for yourself in order to create real changes and see the benefits. I have developed a 12-step program, and funny enough, I call it my 12 Inspirational Step Program. I'm going to cover 3 of the steps in this webinar, and the following steps will be covered in the next 3 webinars. So each webinar I'll cover 3 steps, if that makes sense. So the steps I'll be covering in today's webinar are gaining control, perfect support, and expert help. In the next webinar, webinar number 2, the topics will be discover calmness, boost confidence, lonely busters. In webinar 3, it'll be get social, staying well, and finding happiness. In webinar 4, finding love, ideal future, and positive vision, which is my favourite, as we get to see the future you truly want and deserve. So hopefully, after listening to the titles of my steps in each of the webinars, you'll join me again and see what each of these steps reveals for you and how they can help you to get past your breakup and move forward in a positive and constructive way. Now, my background. I'll start by giving you a little bit of background on myself. Of course, you'll be hearing my side of my marriage breakdown, and as usual, there is another side that is true to the other person, and that will be my ex-husband. But he is not here, so I'll give you my version. I was married for 20-odd years when my marriage ended. I was engaged at the age of 19 and married 3 months later when I was 20. I went from home to a married life. Looking back, I was desperate to leave home due to other circumstances that were occurring in our family, and this man was someone who showed an interest in me. My mother had died when I was 9, and my father was on his 3rd marriage. I have 4 sisters, all younger than me. I remember on my wedding day in the car on the way to the chapel, my father said to me, was I sure I was doing the right thing? I walked down that aisle in tears. I knew deep down it was not the right thing to do, but I went ahead with it anyway. I felt that I could not pull out. I can't say there was one thing that caused my marriage to break down. I do know that I grew as a person during my married life, and my husband stayed exactly the same in his thoughts and beliefs since the day I had met him. During our marriage, usually when we had our arguments, he would often say that I was not the same woman he had married. We had 2 beautiful girls, and I think I threw myself into raising the children and didn't really work too hard at maintaining the marriage, nor did he. I think when my youngest daughter was coming to the end of her high school education, I reevaluated my marriage and decided that he was not the person I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. Of course, we went to marriage counselling, and at one of these sessions, well, it was the last session actually, my husband told the counsellor that he was not prepared to take me back unless I went to aggression counselling. I said to the counsellor, did you hear what he just said? He would not take me back unless I agreed to take aggression classes. Even the counsellor did not think he had said that, and I asked my husband if that is what he had actually said and meant, to which he said yes. The counsellor went on to describe the difference between aggressive, assertive and submissive behaviours, and she told my husband that I was assertive but not aggressive, and asked him if he would like to come back for further sessions with her to go into more detail about the different ways people communicate and act. He said he didn't need to come back. I knew that was the end of the end. He was still not ready to learn and be told that he could be wrong and there were different ways to look at things. I'm still amazed at my reaction to my divorce. Even though I was the one who initiated the breakup, I was the one who knew the marriage could go on no longer. I fell into a deep and dark pit of uncertainty, anxiety, and barely getting through each day. I was lucky I had a very understanding friend who would ring me each day and would tell me what tasks I would be assigned for that day. At the beginning, these tasks were the basic ones, such as making sure to eat properly and to get some exercise, such as going for a walk. And as the days grew on, she would set the tasks that needed to be done if I was to go on and move forward with a new life, such as ringing a counsellor for an appointment or a solicitor so that I need to get things sorted out and to talk about my divorce, arranging for a removalist to come and move me and my possessions to my new apartment, opening a new bank account. I was not capable of thinking for myself. So I know how hard it is when you're going through a breakup, a separation or a divorce. I know that your mind is so overloaded and you struggle to think clearly. You feel overwhelmed and alone. You feel anxious about your future. You experience mixed emotions and often have a feeling of being stuck and not knowing how to move forward. You can easily spend each day by going over and over what went wrong, what you could have done and what you did do, what your ex-partner did or said. This thought process is a complete waste of time, of course. We all do it when we go through a breakup, and I'm quite sure you are sitting there nodding your heads at some of the things I'm saying and remembering how you were feeling when you first broke up with your partner. How many hours did you go over and over what went wrong with a friend or a family member? It was all consuming, and the subject of your breakup was the only one you want to talk about and tell to anyone who would listen. There's nothing you can do about the past. You can only change the way you move forward into your future. So this brings us to the first step we'll be talking about in this webinar, called gaining control. When things go wrong in a relationship, it's very easy to blame the other person. To admit blame is almost like admitting you are the failure. You are the one at fault for the collapse of the relationship. Even though I was the one who initiated the end of my marriage, Even though my husband was quite okay to keep living in a relationship that had no physical contact for the previous 4 years, and he was okay to keep going, it was good enough for him, so why wouldn't it be good enough for me? But I was the one who could no longer keep living like that. I was the one who said it was over, but I was not the only one at fault in the marriage breakdown. There were two of us in the relationship, and we both played a part in the collapse of the marriage. It would be easy for me to blame him. As I had said previously, he had not grown as a person. I, on the other hand, had gone from a naive 20-year-old who had only had 3 boyfriends previously to meeting my husband. I was by no way a woman of the world. I had been living at home. I hadn't even gone on a holiday without my family. So I went from that life to someone who had taken it upon themselves during my early 20s and 30s to complete a higher education. I read a lot of self-help books from authors such as Louise Hay, Dr. Dwayne Dwyer, John Gray, and Susan Jeffers. I started to see that there was more to life and exposed myself to different views and concepts of thinking about things. So it would be easy for me to blame him for the entire breakdown, pointing the finger and thinking it was not my fault. But that would not help me take responsibility for my actions. And if I kept thinking that my husband was the only one to blame, it also keeps me in a negative place. Playing the victim encourages destructive thoughts and keeps me in a place of helplessness. How can you begin to feel happy again when you are in that place? When you stop the blame game, you shift the focus from the other person and inwards to yourself. And working on yourself is the only way you are going to be able to move forward. Now, I'm not saying that you should take all the blame. Self-blame is not good for you either. Everyone has regrets, and I can think of a lot of situations when I said or did things I now regret. So go easy on yourself and try and let go of self-judgments. This is not what I'm on about. When I'm working with my clients, one of the exercises I do in this step, gaining control, is to get clients to write down one of their blaming thoughts they have been having about their ex-partner. Mine would be, my ex-husband is totally responsible for the breakdown of our marriage. Yours might be, my partner was never happy, always criticising me and making me feel inadequate. Our marriage would have survived if he had not drunk or gambled our hard-earned money away. All these thoughts are blaming the ex-partner. So exercise number 1. I want you to think about what your blame thought or thoughts would be. What is true to your situation? And I want you to pick up your pen and write these down on paper you have ready. They may be just one thought, or you may have a number of blame thoughts you want to write down. Now I'm going to give you a minute to think about what you want to write down, and I will be back soon so we can start to reframe these thoughts. If you've got any questions, please ask me. No questions, great. So I'll give you a minute. I'll keep it this way, so. Now I hope I've given you enough time to think about and write down your blame thoughts. I want you to reframe the blame thoughts you've written down from blaming the other person to taking responsibility for your thoughts and reframing them into a positive and helpful ones. An example of this would be my thought I shared with you that my ex-husband is totally responsible for the breakdown of our marriage. And now that I am reframing this thought, I would do so by saying that there were two people in this relationship, and I cannot give someone else what I do not have. I cannot change another person. I cannot make them act a certain way, think a certain way. Sure, I can tell them what I think, but only they can change the way they think and act. And I can not be responsible for their actions. I'm going to change this view. Oh no, now I'm going to have to. I think we did all that. So one of the other thoughts I mentioned previously is that my ex-partner was never happy, always criticizing me, making me feel inadequate. We could reframe this to something like, I am in charge of my thoughts and I love the way I am. Now, as I have said previously, you can't make another person say or do things. You can, however, change the way you react to what they say or do. How are you going to reframe your thoughts? I would love to hear them. So if you feel comfortable, please email them to me. You can do this after the webinar or pause and complete this exercise now if you're replaying it. I've got a really nice affirmation I like to share with you regarding this step we're doing. And it's, I am now ready to release the past with love and move forward with enjoyment and happiness. I'd love you to be able to say this each day, or if you're thinking about blaming somebody or having some negative thoughts, it's a great affirmation to use. So we're going to start on my next step in this 12 Inspirational Step Program, and it's perfect support, and we'll move on to this topic now. Family and friends can be one of your best support systems when you are going through a relationship breakdown. And it is usually a good friend or close family member that will be who you call upon when the separation first occurs. You know instinctively that they will give you the support you need at the time. You can lean on them. They will help you through the traumatic time of a breakup. I am sure you have been like me and talked non-stop about what went wrong, what you could have done differently, what they said, what you said. You vent your frustrations and you cried in sadness. Sometimes family and friends are not enough to help you to move forward, and we will talk a little about this more extensively in the next step when we talk about expert help. Support can be found in all types of places. There are free resources available on the internet, and it's a matter of finding the right ones for you. There are many books on the market, both in bookstores and on the internet, that can help you through the difficult time. When you type in breakup into Amazon.com, over 10,000 results come up. They can be books on how to get past or over your breakup, survival and recovery guides, and other stories on the subject. There are breakup kits and breakup gifts. There are books on relationship and interrelationship advice and ideas on how to get your next partner. This list seems endless. So check out my own book, You'll Be Okay, 12 Inspirational Steps and 12 Inspirational Stories. I'd love to have your feedback. And that's my book. That's me on the cover, and you can get it from my website or on Amazon. If books are not your thing, there are also videos on YouTube for you to look at. The topics range from how to deal with a breakup, stages of a breakup, breakup boot camp, understand and get over your breakup, breakup do's and don'ts, breakup cures, and how to break up with your partner. Plenty of material for you to watch. Community forums are an interesting way to connect with other people who are going through a breakup and discuss the topics related to that subject. They are mostly free to join, and the only thing you need is a computer and an internet connection. You can have conversations, post questions, share information, and offer advice anonymously. Finding the right one for you is a matter of reading some of the posts and seeing if they match your needs. Some would be relationshiptalk.net, loveshack.org, and loveadviceforum.com. I do not necessarily recommend any of them, as it comes down to personal taste, and only you can choose which one works best for you. The internet is also a place to look for online advice when it comes to practical strategies and approaches that you need to take when you are going through a breakup. Some sites can offer counselling for you and your family, family dispute resolution and mediation, relationship and family parenting courses. They can also help you manage your separation or divorce and link you to other services that will help guide you through some of the choices you need to make. Sites that can offer these services in Australia include relationships.org, Lifeline, and familyrelationships.gov.au. So there's some homework for you if you seem interested in any of the ideas I've presented to you today. Look them up on the internet and see if they work for you. The affirmation for this step that I like to give to my clients is, I'm now ready to accept all the help and support I need. So that's a great one to say when you are looking for support. Now this next step and our last step for today in this webinar is expert help. Breakups can be painful, and dealing with massive lifestyle changes on your own can be daunting. It's okay to seek professional help if you're having trouble dealing with a breakup. There are no medals awarded to those that try to struggle on their own, as grief can turn to depression and anxiety very quickly. While family and friends can offer some help, and we have all talked about that subject previously, professional counselling can give you an unbiased look at your situation. It allows you to unload your thoughts and feelings in a safe environment. Counsellors help you develop practical strategies to deal with your own situation so that you can move on with your life in a positive way. Reaching out to others does not come easily for some, and going to see a professional doesn't mean you're a failure. In fact, it's a brave thing to do if you are stressed and struggling with your new life. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to visit an office somewhere, as some services offer phone and online counselling. So where do you get help in the first instance? You could start with your local GP, as they have knowledge of your previous history and would also know what local services are available for you. Your local community health centre is also a place you could visit, as they would have a vast knowledge of the services that are available in your local area. You could contact the Psychotherapy and Counselling Federation of Australia, as they have a register, and I'm quite sure there are also registers in other countries. And of course, family and friends or acquaintances that have been through the process can often recommend a professional that they are happy with. There are many different types of professionals other than counsellors that you may have to use when you're going through your breakup, divorce or separation. It is very hard to do everything you need to do to complete your breakup and sever the emotional, physical and financial ties with your ex-partner, and make sure you have not been taken advantage of. I'm not saying that you have to engage a professional. However, they are more likely to view your situation in a non-judgmental point of view and give you the best advice that will pertain to your situation. The list can be long of the types of professionals that are on the market today, and I will mention a few, but I'm sure that there are many more available. The most common ones would be separation consultants, coaches, counsellors, doctors, psychiatrists, solicitors, lawyers, accountants, and financial planners. All of these professionals can help you in their own specific way. You may need to use just one of these professionals, or you may need to use a number of them to gain the best result for you. And I can go into the roles of these professionals in a little bit more detail when I deliver this step in the 12 Inspirational Step Program, if you choose to complete the course with me. Now, this brings me to the next important question. How do you choose the best professional for you? I'll go through some of the questions to ask when choosing a professional so you can work out if they will suit your needs, and there will no doubt be other questions that you can think of to ask that would suit your needs. But now I'll go through some questions that may be relevant to everybody, and they could be: ask proof of their specialised training. This may or may not be a criteria that you need. However, it could be something that sways your decision to use them or not, especially if you are meeting with a financial advisor, for example. You definitely want to know that they know what they're talking about and have the relevant qualifications so they can advise you with all the financial matters. Find out how long they've been working at this particular profession. Ask about what their main fields of interest are and see if separation or divorce is one of them. This may influence your choice if you know that they specialise in separations and divorces. Like, there's no use using a solicitor that specialises in personal injury if they do not have any experience or specialise in family law. That wouldn't be the best option for you. And most importantly, I think, would be to ask for an estimate of fees. Some may be free or may charge low fees. Others may charge between $40 and $150 or more per hour. This will have no bearing on the quality of service. However, it will give you an indication of what amount you will be up for if you choose to engage their services. Budgets are very important for most people. Not all of us have unlimited money supply, so knowing what you are up for in terms of costs is very important. And if you know this amount, it is one less thing you have to think or worry about. No use having an appointment with a solicitor and wondering how much it is going to cost you per hour. Get this question out of the way first of all, and then you can concentrate on what can be done to solve your problems and issues. You may even be able to claim your fees back on Medicare or your private health insurance if your doctor referred you to a professional with a medical background. You may be eligible for partial rebate on, as I said, on your private health, depending on your policy. You will have to check with your health care provider. Some important things to remember when visiting a professional of your choice would be that you are not obligated to continue to see any of the professional people if you are not comfortable seeing them. So what I'm saying here is that after the initial visit you feel uncomfortable or something just doesn't feel right, you are not obligated to continue with their services. When you are discussing your breakup, you are often going into personal details, and you need to feel comfortable and happy discussing these details with your professional. Have a list of important questions written down you wish to ask when you are trying to find a professional that suits your needs. Last but not least, if you cannot find a match for your service you require, I might be able to recommend someone to you. I do know some good coaches, solicitors, accountants that specialise in divorce and separation. So just email me after the webinar and I will see if I can help you. Now, the first of our exercises in expert help is to write down one or as many as you think you need of the professional help that I just talked about. Maybe a coach, a solicitor, a financial professional. I'll give you a minute to write these down. And I'll just change the screen so I can make sure no one is asking me any questions. So I hope I've given you enough time. I would like to finish this step with the affirmation I think is relevant to the topic we've just discussed. I'm now ready to receive guidance and make choices that are beneficial to me. I'd like you to repeat this affirmation if you need to, and if you want to change it to make it true for you, that's fine as well. So I'd just like to summarize what we've covered on the information that I have delivered to you in this first webinar. So step 1 was gaining control. Step 2 was perfect support. Step 3 was expert help. We talked about stopping the blame game, and you took the time to write down your blame thoughts. We then reframe those negative thoughts into positive and helpful ones. This will take you from a place of negativity and playing the victim to shifting the focus from your ex-partner and on to yourself, allowing you to move forward. If you continue to doubt your ability to take responsibility for your actions, moving forward in your life will be an effort. I don't want you to feel that in order to move on, it will take a lot of effort. I want you to feel that you are ready to take the necessary actions and make the changes so that you can get over the loss of your relationship. You're the only one responsible for the way you react to your breakup. Your ex-partner may behave in a negative way, but that doesn't mean you have to lower yourself to that level. You have the choice to act differently, and in doing so, will be able to focus on what you can do rather than what has already been done. We also looked at the different support systems you already have in place and some others that may interest you. Without perfect support, you can feel alone and confused. Having family and friends who understand what you are going through can be a great comfort. Don't isolate yourself from those who care about you. Sharing your feelings can lighten your load, and suppressing or ignoring your feelings, however painful, will only prolong your heartache. Expert help, where we talked about all the professional help that is available when you choose to use one or a number of the professionals. They are there to help you through the difficult process of a breakup. We talked about some of the questions you may need to ask to help you choose the right professional for you, and to make sure you have your questions written down when you are ringing them and when you have an appointment with them. I find that writing the questions down ensures that you get all your queries answered when you can make informed decisions. So we have come to the end of webinar 1, and I'd like to say thank you for listening, and I hope that I have been able to offer you what I set out to do, and that is to provide valuable content that is honest and straightforward, and that some of the exercises you have completed have given you a different and more positive way of looking at your situation. If you would like to find out more about what I can offer you, please have a look at my website, www.barbarastevens.com.au, or email me at info@barbarastevens.com.au. So I have 5 spots available for my 30-minute sounding board session as a thank you for listening to my webinar. I'm offering this for free. I usually charge $47, but today you can register for free as a thank you. The link is on the screen now. I'll be in so if you can see, it's where you can get started button, or that is also the link. If you press the get started or that get started button or the link, it'll take you to a form that you fill out, and I'll be in contact with you so we can arrange a time to meet, usually via Skype. So in this 30-minute sounding board session, we'll talk one-on-one about what's going on with your situation. We'll look at strategies you can use so you can begin to feel happy again. I also have a Facebook page, and it's Barbara Stevens, Breakup Recovery Mentor, and the link is there below. I also have more tips to get through your breakup, and that is in my blogs. That's on my website as well. I hope you can visit that and read some of the things I have written on there. I'd love to hear your feedback and look forward to having you experience my webinars that I have available for you to listen to. And the last thing I would like to say is be gentle on yourself. You deserve happiness. I'm Barbara Stevens, and I've enjoyed your company. Thank you.